Now, this week has seen the most significant pushback in the Trump administration's attempt to slash the government workforce, which consists of more than 2 million people. Two federal judges ordered the Trump's administration to rehire tens of thousands of probationary workers, part of mass firings that we saw last month. Now, probationary workers are either recent hires or those who had taken new positions. The question now, will the Trump administration actually comply with this order? It has already filed an appeal against the injunction. For more, we're now joined by Richard Painter, law professor at the University of Minnesota. Richard is also former chief White House ethics lawyer for President George W. Bush. Also joining us, Andrew Lantham. He is political science professor at Allister College. Now, Richard, let me come to you first. What exactly are the federal judges saying, the one in California and Maryland? It's basically, it's not can the federal government fire, but how they actually did it. Is that correct?
Well, first, the vast majority of federal workers have job protection. Just like I do as an employee of the state of Minnesota, as a university professor, which means they cannot be fired for political reasons. There are statutes protecting the vast majority of federal workers, with the exception of those at the very top who are appointed by the President of the United States. Our civil service laws have been in existence since the 1890s, well over a century. And the President of the United States must comply with the law. And so in each one of these cases, and there are many cases, the judges will look at the law and look at the executive order and determine whether it complies with the law. And then a court order will be issued. The President of the United States must comply with court orders. That is clear. We've had a handful of extremists at the far left and some of our law schools and of the far right say that a president need not comply with a federal court order. That is simply not true. Every president of the United States since Abraham Lincoln has complied with the orders of the United States Supreme Court, the lower federal courts. It's absolutely critical that President Trump comply with the law.
Andrew, do you see a scenario where President Trump does not comply?
I don't see him thumbing his nose at the courts like that, but he will appeal this. I mean, we have at least three levels of federal courts, right? There's the district and the appellate and then the Supreme Court. And some of these district courts have already changed their mind or been overturned. I mean, we have a system constitutionally in this country in which the executive branch has really significant latitude in terms of interpreting the law and enacting policies. And you marry that with the ethos of this administration, which is borrowed from the tech industry, which is move fast and break everything. And you're going to get a lot of turbulence and turmoil. The question is, ultimately, is the administration operating within the law? In which case, if it is, these are just policy debates. Or is it actually violating the law, in which case this is something of a constitutional crisis? And we're not in a position just at the moment to make that determination because it hasn't gone where it needs to go, which is to the Supreme Court.